There's a new book about 7 music legends. It's called the Rock and Roll Book of the Dead. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Elvis Presley, John Lennon, Kurt Cobain, and Jerry Garcia. The author of the book is David Comfort. And as you look at this, and of course, it's history to some of you. It's my time for me. 4 of them died at 27, David.
Yeah, 27.
Which didn't mean much to me then when I was young, but now when I look back on it, I think, they didn't live.
So that was Jimmy.
They were kids.
Yeah.
I mean, from my point of view, they were kids. I mean, they were 8 years removed from being adolescents, you know, and that whole excessiveness of youth was involved. I mean, had they made it to 30, maybe they would have had a better chance.
We've all been obsessing about Michael Jackson, and you think, my God, he got an extra 25 years on them.
He did, yeah, but he didn't get a fast start like they did. He didn't get involved in drugs until like 84 after his Pepsi accident, and yeah, but the others, big time.
I have a question. When you look at all of this, they all became incredibly obsessive people, obsessive with drugs, obsessive with love and hate, about fame, wanting to be famous, hating it at the same time.
Yeah.
Were these people particularly destined to be that way, or did it make it them that way?
It's, you know, the old nature-nurture thing. I think they, of course, their environment had a huge amount to do with it, but out the hatch, genetically, they were different people. Mm-hmm. They were driven artists. I mean, if an average human being runs at 100 horsepower, they ran at 1,000.
Well,
I mean, their amperage was huge.
Jim Morrison was somebody who wanted to be more a poet than a sex symbol, and always struggled with that. But Jimi Hendrix, it's fascinating that he was 27, Morrison and Janis Joplin, and they were all sort of lovers intertwined. I don't know about Jimmy and Jim, but certainly Janis with
yes,
them.
they were. Right.
And what were you just telling us about Janis and Jimmy? It was love-hate. It was,
well, it was love-hate.
Janis and Jim.
And Jim, as the guitarist for Big Brother said, it was two huge egos in the night, clashing in the night.
And
they just couldn't tolerate each other. Yeah, great sex. If they weren't battering each other with whiskey
bottles. That's a very true story. And it was at John Davidson's house. I always heard the story she hit him over the head with a whiskey bottle. I didn't know it was at the talk show host John Davidson's house.
The singer, John?
Yeah, well, the singer.
The middle of the road, John Davidson.
Yes.
Wow.
Tell us what happened.
He had a liquor cabinet that no one was supposed to go into, but of course that's the first place that Jim went. and he started draining the liquor cabinet, and halfway through he puked all over Davidson's rugs and stuff. And Janis being Janis being Janis, said, "Jim, that isn't particularly good manners." And he took her head and slammed it up and down on the coffee table until she just was floored. And then
I like how you're laughing.
Well, she got him back with a whiskey bottle.
Tell us this
big thick bottle of Southern Comfort.
Okay,
she
so
thought it was
happened?
hilarious. Well, she fled to the bathroom. And so he staggered out to get in his car and leave. And so she blindsided him on the way out to the car and knocked him out with a whiskey bottle and did a dance around him, cackling maniacally.
That story has been out there. The story that I've read a lot of books on Morrison, Danny Sugarman's, and all the different. That you say there's a possibility that he was in that circus nightclub in
the
Paris.
Rock and Roll Circus, yeah.
Possibly OD'd there on heroin and was dragged back to the Paris apartment where Pamela Corson woke up and found him the next day?
It seems quite certain. Well, first of all, when people OD on heroin, often they put them in the bathtub to try to bring them around. But what happened was it recently came out about 3 years ago that the manager of the club decided to at last reveal, because his conscience had been bothering him, that this is indeed what happened. And he had kept it hidden for years because he had some pretty heavy jobs with Walt Disney, and he thought he might be compromised professionally if he brought this out. In any case, he did, and there were other witnesses there who confirmed his story. So Jim, he went into the bar to score heroin, which he had just started to use. His common-law wife, Pamela Corson, was a junkie for years.
She was a big heroin lover.
Oh, yeah.
She ended up dying a couple years later.
Yeah, she did, yeah. And so he went to score for them, and the main pusher at the Rock and Roll Circus was a guy by the name of Count Jean, a French aristocrat, who had graduated with them at UCLA. And actually, he was the one who provided Janis, ironically, her last shot.
Amazing.
And David, sorry for interrupting, but you include Elvis Presley in the book. Now, from my vantage point, Elvis was the king of rock and roll. These people are rock. And there's a distinction generationally. Why did you include him?
Well, because he was the king in every way. Certainly musically as a performer, but he was the king in terms of drug abuse too. I mean, all of these people were monster abusers. But
what's something we don't know about Elvis's death?
I'm quite sure that he committed suicide.
Oh, so he did this on purpose. It
Really?
wasn't just an accident.
Well, he was a pharmaceutical autodidact. I mean, the guy knew self-taught.
Okay.
He knew. I mean, his Bible, the guy said, his handlers, was the physician's desk reference.
But can you be sane about your if you are an addict? You're an addict and forget what you know.
Well, that all goes out the window. Tell us why you think that. Why do you think he committed suicide?
Well, we'll go to the background in a second. What he was dealing with psychologically, emotionally at the time. Let's just deal physically. He was taking what they called attack 1, 2, and 3 at night just to go to sleep. These were major narcotics.
But it sounds like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it does. But Michael Jackson took it one
step up from
Propofol took it one step further. Yeah. He wanted to be in a coma, you know. Anyway, Elvis was taking these protocols from his doctor, and he had taken all 3 protocols because, like many of the others, he simply could not get to sleep. He was an insomniac, you know.
Well, that and he was on uppers all day, right?
Well, that too.
What is it with these
he was
stars?
On the seesaw.
Is it that the mind won't stop?
Well, it starts innocently enough. I mean, it started innocently enough with Elvis, for example. Even the Beatles, they were all taking speed just to do these huge sets.
Could a healthy person become a rock star?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Well, you talk about, because Kurt Cobain is also in this, a whole chapter, which I found fascinating, and you have to get the book to read.
Was Elvis listening to Rick Dees on the radio in Memphis when he died? That's the story that I always hear.
Really?
Possible. I mean,
don't know that. Okay.
No, I don't know that. He died at 3 a.m. Was Rick Dees
on the air at 3 a.m.
And you think he killed himself?
Yeah, with codeine. He was allergic to codeine.
The rock and roll.
He took it anyway?
He took a whole bottle of codeine.
Knowing he was allergic.
Yeah.
He
secured that bottle of codeine from his dentist at an emergency appointment that night.
Jenny Comfort, thank you for being with us.
God, but this is fascinating.
I know we got to go, unfortunately.
Get the book.
We're going to go to a wedding right after this. Stay tuned.
Wow.